Hi, I have another story to share. Um, this one is gonna be hard for me to share, but here it goes. Um, one time I had just gotten out of work, and I went to go pick up my kids from school, and we were heading home. But I knew my car, something was wrong with my car, and um, I couldn't afford to take my car to like Sears where it was gonna cost me more, and I could barely afford, you know, um, I, I was getting paid good, but with buying the everything, rent, bills, kids, it was too expensive, and so I went to what I thought it was gonna be a affordable mechanic, just a random mechanic. I went in there, and it was just like a garage. And I went in there and I parked the car and I explained the situation to the man. He was there by himself. I got my kids out of the van. I had a van, Plymix, I think. Um, and then he had a room. He told me I could go in there with the kids and they can watch cartoons. So I did. I thanked them. And while my kids were watching cartoons and they were on his bed, um, I noticed that I'm behind some boxes. Ouch! I heard behind some boxes. There was some videos, a lot of videos, and they were like pornos. And then I look at my kids, and I saw that they were sitting in his bed, and his bed looked like it hadn't been fixed. And I'm like, oh no, I don't know what he been doing there. So I don't know. So I just told my kids, come on, let's go out there. And so my kids were running all over the place, and I was trying to keep up with them, and they all ran to it looked like a backyard. So I went after them. I thought my daughter was behind me, but I noticed she wasn't when I was on my way back. And but before, when I was with my kids over there trying to gather them, um, that man had called my daughter. He distracted her and called her, and he told her if uh, she wanted candy, and I guess she said yeah. So and then he told her get it from it's in the closet. So she went and tried to reach to it, and then he pushed her a little bit with his back. He put his, he pushed her with his, and then he grabbed her in the front and pushed like towards him, and she felt bad. And then she just and then um um he had already given me a watermelon, so he put it in the van. So um he had offered her a watermelon after he touched her, and and she said yeah, I guess. And he put it in the van. So when I came back, I noticed my daughter. I yelled at her, and I noticed she wasn't behind me. So I came back, and when I came back, she was in the van, and she was like real sad. She wanted to go home, and she had my key, but she kept saying she wanted to go home. And then finally, I told her, "How do you want me? Can't you see they're working on the van, Mia? You wait, just wait." And then she got mad, and she was playing with my key, and I mean that key was big. She broke it, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's my only key!" And oh my God, how are we gonna get home? And then um that man had called his boss, I guess the owner of the shop. He came and he took us home, and we left the van there. So he dropped us off in the laundromat. My mom lived behind it, and I lived in front of it in some apartments. And I was seeing. I don't remember if it was that place was closed or they just couldn't fix the key. And um, I told my daughter, you know what? I feel something happened, like something strange. I feel it because I just know. You feel like talking to me, and then she was like, yeah. And I told her, you could tell me anything, I believe you. And then she started telling me that yeah. And I looked at her and I said, um, I, yeah, I sensed something. And said, what did he do? And she couldn't tell me. She couldn't tell me. So I had a flashback, like when I couldn't tell my mom about what happened, what my brother was doing to me. And then, so I remember my mom asking me a lot of questions. And so I didn't want to help my daughter, you know. I wanted her to tell me herself. So I started asking her a lot of questions like, did he pull your hair? She would go, no. Did he hit you? No. And the more she would get mad just like I did when I was little. And then finally when I said, did he touch you in a place where he wasn't supposed to? And then she looked at me and she went like this, just like me when I was little. And I'm like, I didn't cry or anything. I said, okay, I tell you what, we're gonna talk. We're gonna go home and we're gonna talk, only you and I. Okay, and I want to hear everything. And I believe you. And I want you to know that it's not your fault. It's not your fault. Okay, you're little. He should have known better. He's a grown man. And but we need to call the cops because you don't want this to happen to anybody else, right? And then she said, no. I said, okay. Well, let's go home and we talk about everything. Tell me everything, okay? And then so she said, okay. And then and then uh, when I think I had gotten her confident, you know, her confident, and she gave me a hug and I gave her a hug and I said, it's not your fault, and I gave her a hug. And then she told me, but my uncle does a lot worse things. And I knew who she was talking about, the one that did to me. And then I'm like, I didn't like it. I just said, oh, okay. I didn't, I just want to be her best friend. I was trying to be her best friend because I wanted her to tell me everything. And I didn't want to cry and scare her or anything, like to shut her off or don't tell me anything. So I went home and she even asked me, but not the boys, right, Mom? I go, no, it's just me and you privately. And then I told the boys not to come in the room. And then she was telling me everything. Like I guess she felt like I was her best friend, and she was telling me like what else. And I was real calm. I was calm. I wasn't panicking or nothing. I was just. And then she was telling me that um he would send all the boys outside to play, and then he would tell her to go in the shower to take a bath. And then later, while the boys are out there playing, and he would come and get in the restroom with her. And she was already in the tub, you know um, with no clothes on. And then he would stand by the door with the door shut inside with her. and that he would show her, like, unzip his shorts, because he would wear shorts a lot. He would unzip it and show her his thing, and then he would tell her to get in the get out of the shower and stand by the toilet and turn around and do things to her. And then she would also say that when the kids were they were all watching cartoons, and he would have her in the bed. They were like in the floor watching TV, and he would have her laying down, but with the covers covered her and him, and he would be doing stuff to her. And then sometimes that the boys would he would let the boys go play outside in the backyard, and that he would bring her in, and he would put a porno and lock the door and put like a movie, because she said that it was like people with no clothes on, and that she saw white stuff coming out of him. And oh my God, she was able to share all of that with me. And I said, and I was still like her best friend. I didn't cry. I was calm. And I said, you know what? We need to, you know, to report it to the cops. And I want you to tell the cops everything you told me, and do not be afraid. Don't be afraid. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. And then so I did. I called the police, and I reported. Uh, I told them this whole story about the man, but I don't know if they ever went to get him. But I know that my brother, yeah, it took like 3 months, but they went and got him. Um, well, they tested my kids. I took them to children's assessment. I had an appointment, and they tested everyone, and they tested her. And when they tested her, they used like a special lady, and they were inside a room, and she was playing with dolls, you know, and she would she would um tell her what he would do, like with the dolls. And then at the end of the meeting, she said, and my dad was there too. And then the counselor told her, excuse me, your dad? He said, yeah, he saw everything. And then she said, your dad was there too? He said, yeah. And then he said, where does he live? And then she went up there, because I would talk to them about God, like I tried to talk to them about God, and I think she kind of got it. And she said she believed that God was there. You know, she must have had some kind of faith, prayer, or something, in her beliefs. And and as soon as she said that, um, the investigator came to speak to me privately. They took my kids. Somebody took my kids to uh, go play, and then um, they told me that he wanted to know everything about my brother. Uh, wanted to know everything, where he lived and what he looked like. And I told him everything. And I couldn't leave, because after that, meeting, I had to take my daughter to the next level in that same place in the children's assessment. Um, I took them to I took her to a doctor, and they check her, and they have stuffed animals there, and then they kind of show her a stuffed animal, and I was there, and I didn't cry, and I was just being her best friend, and supporting her, and and, I wanted her to feel, and she was relaxed, like relaxed. She was not scared or anything. I guess that I put that on her. I wish I had that when I was little, but I am so happy that I was there for her, for my daughter. And then they checked her down there, and and while they were checking her down there, I kept talking to my daughter, with playing with her. I kept looking at this stuffed animal, and I kept saying, "Look, Mama, look, 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 look," so she could concentrate on the stuffed animal. And then finally they were done from there, and then the doctor told me, she said that, yeah, it's positive. He had penetrated her, because you could tell. They told me that there were some um, tissues, scar tissues, and so she was not there when they told me, and then I think I just like, and then right before I went, I got up. I waited till I stopped crying, and then I just went and got my kids, went home, and I, I kept praising my daughter for doing the right thing, doing the right thing. And after that, I went through a lot, because my family would babysit my kids while I was working as a welder. My family would babysit my kids, and I wasn't gonna have anybody to watch my kids. So I wind up going to the shelter, and I couldn't concentrate at work. By then I was a lab technician. From a welder, they have moved me to a lab technician. I would check the chemicals of the plant, and I was working in the lab, and they trained me for that. And I just left because I couldn't concentrate. If I made a mistake, I was gonna ruin a whole bunch of production. You're talking about 30,000, because in each tank maybe there was like 15,000 worth of parts. Uh, I was dealing with sulfuric acid, chrome, nickel plating, and all that in the industrial. I was working as an industrial, not in the medical field, but industrial. Um, and then um, I went to a shelter with my kids. I had my van, and I was there like for I was there like for 6 months, 9 months, and while I was there, they had stole my van, because I couldn't park my van inside the shelter, because I didn't have insurance, so I had to park it outside. And it was in Star Hope. The shelter was Star Hope in downtown, and um uh but by the time it was time to take my kids to school, We didn't have a van. I was like, oh God, I feel so dried inside. So dried. I felt like I was in a desert. No car and in a shelter. No job. And but the shelter, they helped us a lot. They did. I wish I could go back and maybe one day support them, in whatever they need to, and some help. I should do that too. Well, I just wanted to share that. Thank you for listening, and God bless you. And don't forget to pray before you go to sleep. Amen.